Hi guys, I'm Collin Malmberg, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Chapter 11, which related to social equity and environmental justice. So, environmental justice is a pretty big focal point of social equity. It relates to marginalized populations that are typically more likely to experience inequity in environmental aspects. There's a pretty long, complex history, and environmental justice is defined by the EPA as the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, on the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental law, regulations, and policies. So, the birth of the environmental justice movement can be attributed to what happened in North Carolina in 1978. There was a company that dumped some chemicals along road shoulders throughout 13 different counties in order to avoid um, the high costs of proper disposal. And the state of North Carolina decided to build a hazardous waste landfill and landed on the town of Afton in Warren County. Afton had the highest black population of the 93 sites that had been considered, and Warren County as a whole was a poor county. Um, it kind of it's kind of what sparked the movement, and it grew throughout the 80s and 90s. And the first National People of Color Leadership Summit took place in 1991 in Washington, D.C., and they adopted 17 principles of environmental justice. So, yeah, in a broad sense, environmental justice is concerned with the places we live, work, play, learn, and worship, along with natural areas in general. Um, One of the big issues in environmental justice that you've probably heard of is the Flint, Michigan water crisis. Um, in 2016, it was found that the Flint water supply contained high levels of lead, and government officials tried to assure the public that the water was safe early in 2015 when the concerns first popped up. But by late 2015, it became very clear that it was a serious problem. Flint is a majority black community and has a high percentage of residents who live below the poverty line. And yeah, most industrial facilities and hazardous waste facilities are located in poor areas of cities, which generally have the most black or Hispanic residents. Creates brownfields, which, um, when they become new developments, if they do, per capita income increases and wealthier people move in, meaning that the poor residents often have to find a new place to live. And another big issue is the issue that Native Americans have dealt with for hundreds of years with government and private companies, particularly with uranium mining and energy infrastructure and toxic siting. Yeah, there used to be, post World War II, tons of uranium mines on Native American land. And although these companies employed a lot of Native Americans, many people dealt with health issues down the line. There's still 500 abandoned sites just on the Navajo Nation alone, which is the biggest reservation. There's also the Dakota Access Pipeline controversy in South Dakota and North Dakota in the mid 2010s, which ultimately the pipeline was built um, despite a lot of protests. There's a couple approaches and laws relating to it. There's distributional and procedural aspects. Distributional relates to equitable distribution of benefits and drawbacks of environmental policy. And the procedural aspect means that stakeholders should be given opportunities to participate in decisions that directly affect them. One important law or order that was put in place was Bill Clinton's 1994 executive order that directed that every federal agency should identify and address disproportionate health effects of programs, activities, and policies on low income and minority populations. Yeah, another big one was the National Environmental Policy Act, which helped lay the foundation for modern environmental policy, and it requires that agencies create an environmental impact statement. And yeah, another big thing is just civil society advocating and providing a voice for marginalized communities that have been affected by pollution, energy infrastructure inequities, and awareness has grown among a lot of traditional environmental organizations, and they've really increased their capacity to advocate against injustices. So, yeah, in the future, it presents a great challenge, environmental justice for both globally and the United States. And government, private companies, and civil society are all going to play a great role in advocating against injustices and raising public awareness. And I've attached a few discussion questions for you guys. So, yeah, thank you.